There on top.
You're glazing that now?
Glazing that, right.
Oh, that is gorgeous. That is gorgeous. Now, tell us about the Culinary Olympics.
You have the black belts of chefs coming from all around the world to compete in all the different categories of hot food, cold food, pastry.
Hey, this is no flash in the pan. It's been around for a complete century. What started out with a couple dozen chefs in Germany in 1900 has morphed into over 50 countries sending teams of chefs to compete. I'm talking national teams, junior national teams, even Army teams, regional teams, and individuals.
Got all drum brakes, so you may have to pump it a little bit.
Yeah.
You don't want to go off into that ravine.
Yeah, especially with us riding with you.
All right, I just finished riding a World War II Jeep with my friend Mark Warren and Chief Shane Rich. Anyway, so it's kind of an amazing story that I discovered this thing called the Culinary Olympics that dates back to 1900, Frankfurt, Germany. But before I get into that, I want to go into how I became a pastry chef and then discovered the whole thing. It's kind of a crazy story. So, it's the 70s, I wanted to play baseball. I figured for the Chicago Cubs or the Chicago White Sox, I wasn't picky. And then I would be a mechanic in Florida during the winter. Laugh out loud. And anyway, my dad came home and said they're hiring cooks at Denny's. So I went and applied, and after 3 interviews, and since I kept my bedroom clean, they hired me. After Denny's, then I decided to go to culinary school, 2 years, and I got out. I worked in the country club for a year, and then I went to Chicago and worked with Swiss Air. They opened a restaurant. I was trained by Swiss pastry chef Hans Sennhauser. And after that, it got kind of crazy. But my first competition I did was in Garde Manger, and I was up for over 50 hours straight for the first competition. So after that, I was like very intrigued because this competition was sanctioned by the American Culinary Federation, and I wanted to find out more. But I had to spend 25 years in the kitchen. I had to compete for some gold medal to figure out how this thing works. So I went to Memphis to the Hotel Peabody, and my first competition down there was a grand prize in gold, and I did a chocolate trellis on top of a chocolate box with truffles and 6 desserts, and so that opened the door to more competition experience. Then I went to Jamaica, Montego Bay, Jamaica, and I won my first international gold with my team of Jamaican chefs. Working in the kitchen, I taught them how to do pastillage and paint on pastillage, and we won gold in that one. So after that, my green card was expiring, so I figured, hey, I got to do something here. I got to get out of here. And my brother called me. He said he's moving out of his apartment in Manhattan at 11 West 70th. Do I want it? I said yes. So then I could continue on my journey of finding out about the Culinary Olympics. I went to the library at 42nd and 5th Avenue to find out about Culinary Team USA and how it started, and the first Culinary Team USA that competed in 1956 at the Culinary Olympics.
I was so excited that I walked into Channel 13 to try to get a TV crew to come with me and cover it for the first time. No dice. But while I was there, the guy received a call from the Food Network asking for a pastry chef to do apricot desserts for Donna Hanover on her show, In Food Today.
The latter, joining us with some delicious treats, is pastry chef and member of the Culinary Olympics, Dean Kropp. Welcome, Dean.
Thank you, Donna. We're doing an apricot fruit strip. So I did the Italian cream custard with whipped cream. Put the apricots there on top that I have already prepped. And apricots are...
Yeah, how do you get the pit out? What is the best way?
The pit is just after you cut the apricot in half, just to, pull it apart and then pull the pit out. And the pit is poisonous. Okay?
Okay, be aware of that.
If anybody's trying to feed you apricot pits, get away.
No. Okay, so you're glazing that now?
Glazing that, right.
Oh, that is gorgeous. That is gorgeous. Okay, entirely consistent. Well, thank you. All of this is beautiful. Good luck in the Culinary Olympics.
Thanks.
We know you'll represent us well.
That's right.
Okay, good.
Okay.
After that was done, it was off to Berlin to see this ICA Culinary Olympics firsthand. It's there that I discovered that the US Army has a culinary team, and I met its manager, Shane Rich. The US Army team won silver right behind Great Britain with gold, and Germany taking bronze. Shane invited me to visit the military competition at Fort Lee, but I couldn't get there until 1999. When I did, it was an eye-opener watching the chefs cook their stuff, especially in the mobile kitchen trailer. The soldiers are actually preparing the meal as if they were a combat.
Right. Again, it's still a mystery to them because nobody knows what the menu is going to be until they get out there. This event is spread over 3 days because the number of teams that we have, and the fact that it's actually prepared on a mobile kitchen trailer, otherwise known as an MKT. The team goes out there, example, the morning shift. Again, we have 2 heats a day, morning and afternoon. But the team goes out, say, get there at 6 o'clock. They get their in-briefing by the organizers out there. Then they're taken down, they pick up their food, they get their menu, and they're given the trailer. They're only allowed to use what utensils and equipment are on the trailer. Again, that's a 3-course menu, this time for 50 people. And they're required to prepare that also to a set schedule. Along with that, though, they're also required to show that they know how to use the equipment. So the M2 burner, which is one of our primary source of heat for everything in the kitchen, the team has to have one person that goes out and actually lights the burner and shows they know the proper steps to refueling, to safety, proper way to carry it, proper way to adjust the heat and everything.
After arriving back home,
I cooked for movie stars on sets. I cooked for Dave Thomas of Wendy's, James Earl Jones, Demi Moore, Hulk Hogan. And then I had car accidents that put me out of business.
this brings us to the next portion of my show. It's called Finding My Injuries. Dean, would you open the book? Oh, of course. First, you have to have a car insurance contract. Otherwise, no juice, baby, you can't drive. And you want to check and see, what does the contract say? The injured person shall submit to an examination by doctors chosen by us and at our expense, as we may have reasonably require. In the state of New York, you're supposed to get this managed care no-fault handbook. So when you are injured, you will be notified by the car insurance company so you can go to doctors to get your injuries fixed. Right. See, right away, you have to notify the car insurance company, which was Geico, and then they get a hold of MagnaCare and set you up. Supposedly, chiropractors, general practice physicians, family practice physicians, internal medicine physicians, obstetricians, gynecologists, okay, and pediatricians. Well, that's good if you have kids in the car. Next, you got to have a police report to document that there was a car accident, and an ER report that hopefully it is readable, but no evidence. And the games begin. November of 2000, I get the first letter, I got to go to the doctor, and failure to keep scheduled appointment may jeopardize no-fault insurance benefits. Please turn the page. Okay, I get another notice for a neurologist. December 7th, 2000. Failure to keep scheduled appointment may jeopardize no-fault insurance benefits. And here we go, from the orthopedic doctor they sent me to. The claimant eventually followed up with his primary care physician, Dr. Hendricks, who's a great doctor, who he states checked him out for a concussion. Okay, it's documented I may have a brain injury, December 14, 2000, but they did not tell me. This doctor, Daniel DeSimone, certified that foregoing report is true to the best of my knowledge under the penalty of perjury. They all write that on their reports. In March of 01, so I was back in the ER because a brain injury wreaks havoc on the body because the brain is the computer that runs our bodies. So then I had lost my career and I had to take out all my money from my IRA to pay to go to doctor visits for this car accident that I was injured by no fault of my own. That triggers an automatic IRS audit. There we go. I had more rights as a taxpayer than I did when I was injured by no fault of my own. Oh, now I get a second notice letter from another disc neurologist, and still, failure to keep the second notice may jeopardize no-fault insurance benefits. This is only a second notice. I wrote to Geico asking for my benefits, and here we go. A report from Geico. December 2001. There was no report of head injury or loss of consciousness, which is not true. It's documented here by their orthopedic doctor. I may have a concussion, which they never told me about. They even filled in Dr. Joseph Domino. I had no record of this doctor, and they told in the report that I went to these appointments and had therapy, but it doesn't say what kind of therapy, and I never met this guy in my life. And next up, besides having an IRS audit, I got sued because I went to Hackensack Hospital and I was trying to get my back injuries taken care of, and they sued me because I should have had this covered by no fault, but I didn't. And then I had to go to court and prove that a third party was involved. And finally, I got referred to a neuropsychologist who tested me for cognitive evaluation, and it's got to be expanded over a few different dates to certify. And then finally I get a response from the IRS 2004 in March that I did everything right, but they still have to go through one more person. And the next month, as reported, the tax you reported is correct. So I know how to follow the rules and play by the laws. Then I had the second car accident, May 16, 2004. Again, you got to have the police report, you got to have an ER report, and they acknowledge that I may have been injured in an accident that occurred on the above date, May 16, 2004. And they even paid me for my car rental because I had to get my car fixed. And I'm still in brain rehab, June 2004. Notice the sticky notes here are changing color because Geico's changing the recipe. Failure to keep scheduled appointment will result in denial of benefits. So I had to go to the doctors now. It wasn't an option. And my first doctor I went to, Dr. Kenneth Falbo, he said cervical sprain resolved, low back sprain resolved, contusion of both wrists healed. I had no contusion of both wrists because contusion is a bruise, and they weren't bruised, the wrists were in fact crushed. This is coming up in future documentation. And Geico cut me off right away. They must love it, sitting there in their office going, oh, cut this guy off. Then in June of 2004, I went to another doctor, and this doctor actually told a little bit of truth. The claimant was unemployed at the time of the accident and remains unemployed. He has a pre-existing disability from his accident in 2000. So at least he tried to tell the truth. February 2005, I'm still doing brain rehab. Bilateral wrist x-ray, 2005. Bilateral inflammation at level extensor carpi ulnaris and extensor carpi radialis tendons. Right wrist, MRI. Subacute osteochondral grade 1 injury of the lunate base. Keep that in mind. I wrote to Geico asking for my benefits for the 2004 car accident. That was no fault of my own. Right. And then they said write to the doctors to try to get them to change their status on my injuries. So I did. I wrote them a letter. I copied it to Geico. Return to sender. Isn't that a song? No such number. Unable to forward. Wow. And the next day I went to the address, took a picture, and it was still there. So, bad news here. Federal law that prohibits a company from stating an address doesn't exist when it does is 18 U.S. Code 1342, which addresses the use of fictitious names or addresses to defraud. All right, 2009, I go to a hand surgeon, and symptoms are since May 16, 2004, the pain is 10/10 still. And he diagnosed double crush syndrome involving cervical spine and carpal tunnel. October 2011, Geico sends me to a neurologist. Neurologists find right and left wrist pain with no signs for carpal tunnel syndrome. Not exactly true, but he did write that I still had pain, 2011. We have another MRI, Will Cornell, here in the right wrist. They checked if there's previous injury, osteochondral injury, and TFC injury, chronic tear of the triangular fibrocartilage complex, and a mild signal abnormality, first documented in August 2005. And I wasn't getting any help from doctors. I found a chiropractor who did wrist decompression, because it's quite common to have wrist injuries when you're hitting the rear end driving your car. Here I am going through this. Neuroscience Associates, Neurocare Associates here, their medical documentation, and I continued doing the wrist decompression. And when you go to court, defense attorneys use previous cases to justify kicking my case out of court, and for them, I have a special poem, a message about life. Life can get rough, it might even become tough. Injured or not, you may struggle a lot. I don't know your state, nor can I predict your fate. Even with a brain injury, don't commit perjury. Life is short, so don't abort. Even with an IRS audit of sorts, or being sued in civil court, give life a chance, but you have to enhance the path you take to make the break. Don't give up, for you will see the reason for you to be. And in the state of New York, leaving the scene of a car accident where injuries are involved is a crime. So Geico left me injured at both car accident scenes. That's a crime, allegedly. I love that word, allegedly. Just for the record, concussions in American football, NFL. 1920, the NFL was formed. October 2009, the NFL was called before Congress to defend their policies against allegations of neglect for players who got injured and there was no treatment available to them. So look at all the years that went by. So December 2017, New York Times reports NFL changes concussion protocol. Injured players are to be taken directly to a medical team member for concussion assessment. And as a result of this incident and pressure from the NFL Players Association, the NFL released a comprehensive overhaul of the league concussion policy in November and December of 2009. The policy expanded the list of symptoms that would prevent a player from returning to a game or practice on the same day their injury occurred. I assert that there is no concussion protocol in the no-fault system in the state of New York. I'm trying to keep this under 40 minutes, so please tune in next week on Finding My Injuries. We'll find out what happened to somebody else, and in the meantime, I got to get back to my story here, all right, about this Culinary Olympics and all this business. All right. To get back to some dignity with my life, I volunteered to do the newsletter for the Big Apple Chapter Chefs Association, which is a sub-chapter of the American Culinary Federation located here in New York City. It was there that Chef Arnold told me about these 4 books that he donated to the CIA. That's the Culinary Institute of America, not the other CIA. Despite all the books that were burned during World War II, these 4 books floated across the Atlantic Ocean in the 1960s from Frankfurt to New York City. They ended up in Chef Arnold's hands, so when he told me about them, I drove up to the CIA to get copies of them. It was in these books that I discovered the first countries that competed in 1900 and what they cooked. National Team China made barley soup with a mix of vegetables and mutton. National Team Greece prepared small chunks of lamb, fried crispy and served with polenta of corn. National Team Italy served pieces of meat, sardines, anchovies, served with cooked artichokes stuffed with bread shavings, capers, onions, and garlic, and roasted in the oven. National Team Romania made stuffed cabbage with walnuts, raisins, baked celery, and smashed black and green olives. National Team Russia served fish and vinegar or jelly, cold meats and cheeses, and of course, borscht. National Team Turkey prepared kebabs made with pieces of mutton or goat meat, served with yogurt and flatbreads. National Team Germany served a dinner called Dinner in Ambigu, which meant one course served hot, one course was served cold. This is the Culinary Olympics. At the 2020 Culinary Olympics that took place in Stuttgart, Beyonce and Jay-Z showed up. They were made out of gum paste. Harry Potter showed up. National Team China won a gold for this blown and pulled sugar piece. Marilyn Monroe showed up and colored rice, as did Captain Jack Sparrow. Mother of Dragons showed up in gum paste and pastillage. Spider-Man showed up. That was crazy. Chefs make centerpieces out of gum paste, pulled and blown sugar, as all pieces must be edible, which is what Banzer desired when he created the event for 1900.
No way!
The Culinary Olympics are over. Now it's time for the 45th Joint Culinary Training Exercise here at the Army Base in historic Fort Lee, Virginia. From yesterday to today, experience featured interviews with the top judge, to the team managers, to first-time competitors. Hear the stories, feel the heat. Anybody can cook here, as long as they're in the military. In this military training exercise that you are about to see, the real competition here is adherence to the American Culinary Federation's standards and guidelines for competition in front of a live audience and their peers as they cook their way to becoming the best cooks they can be. Each competitor starts out with 100 points. As they cook their dish in front of the judges, they don't want to make any mistakes, otherwise they lose points. You will hear from platform attendant for the mobile kitchen trailer and field instructor, Staff Sergeant Nicholas Davis.
And I've been in 13 years, and I have wanted to do it for every single one of my 13 years.
Oh, wow.
I've always been deployed when it came time, and now that I'm here, I'm an instructor here, so we don't compete. We just kind of oversee.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Chef.
This concept is not new. Since the mid to late 1800s, getting rations to the front lines has been a huge issue. The undiscovered Queen Frederick, born Victoria Mary Louisa Princess Royal, eldest daughter of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert, became concerned with food for the common man to the army man. With the assistance of her daughter, Princess Margaret, they organized the first culinary fair in 1894, Frankfurt, Germany. This all-army competition is sanctioned by the American Culinary Federation, which was formed in the friendly confines of New York City in 1929. Today, due to the coronavirus outbreak and units deploying, a few teams couldn't be there, but the show still goes on. Sir?
Oh my God!
Congratulations!
I appreciate it.
How's it feel?
Amazing. Like I said, putting these teams together every year, taking 11 people that haven't ever met before, haven't worked together, haven't done anything, get them into 9 days of training, laser focus them, and come out with the best in show. Wow, it's amazing.
Live from Stuttgart, it's the 26th ICA Culinary Olympics. The flags flew. The Olympic torch was lit. With over 1,200 participants, including 88 teams of chefs from 55 nations who have come to compete for the highly sought after gold medal, let the cooking begin. This event began in 1900 Frankfurt, Germany, with the first culinary fair getting organized by Queen Frederick in 1894. The teams finished the Parade of Nations March, with Culinary Team USA finishing off the march. The cooking began in the 17 hot kitchens for Restaurant of Nations and the Chef's Table competitions. Teams even had their own cheering fans. All the teams go through team tryouts in order to select their team. This is more of a challenge for a large nation where the chefs are scattered coast to coast. Junior culinary team members can't be over 25 years of age. Getting on the junior team preps the chef for getting on the national team. Competition experience is a prerequisite for getting selected onto a national team. Menus are planned 6 months in advance, so the big challenge for teams is getting their food to this international stage when they arrive in Germany. And there were centerpiece displays, like Granny and the Robber, to Mary Poppins, and Al Pacino, along with 2 ladies shocked because they were being judged. And now a special interview with the team mentor from the Junior Culinary Team Ukraine.
My skills is management and cooperation and creating.
So whose idea was it to make a team from Ukraine?
We have association in Young Team Ukraine.
Okay.
And president of the association is Yulia Makarenko. He say, guys, we need something make for winner. Yeah, we need to make something special for supporting her, and we need to make it some like a big dream.
Sir, congratulations, Kevin. So, Kevin, the big question: when did you decide to be a chef?
When did I decide to be a chef? A long time ago.
A long time ago. Where are you from originally?
Kansas City.
Kansas City. Wow.
Go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs. All right. I'm from Chicago, so I say go Bears.
Okay, there you
But
go.
I live in New York, so I never know who to root for. Anyway, how was it pulling the team together for this?
The team, you know what? They did a great job. Coming here doesn't come without its challenges.
Yeah.
It's a lot of equipment to move. It's a lot of people to move. There's a lot of support around the team that you have to make sure they're all on the same page as we are.
Right. I enjoyed your dinner very much. So yeah.
No, I think the food was solid. I think
Yeah.
they did a nice job with everything.
Yeah, I like the dessert.
Yeah.
I did, even though it was getting some people were calling it too clunky.
Yeah.
But I thought it was pretty cool.
No, I thought it was too.
You know,
we worked on that, and that changed several times last year.
Yeah,
Thank you for
congratulations
doing
again. So,
Yeah.
all right,
Thanks.
good flight back.
Thank you.
Okay.
For them in the Restaurant of Nations, a diploma.
Oh, a diploma. Oh. Team Ukraine had a very strong menu, but when I received my chicken Kiev and I cut it open, it was raw. They lose a lot of points for that. And now let's find out who wins this crazy cooking competition. For the junior team, 3rd place is Denmark. For the junior team, 2nd place is Norway. And for 1st place in the junior team category, Sweden takes it. And now overall for 3rd place, Iceland wins the bronze medal. The silver medal goes to Switzerland. And the overall best cooking team at the 2024 ICA Culinary Olympics is Finland.
That's a wrap here in Stuttgart. Now we're on our way to the Fort Greg Adams Army Base in Virginia for the 48th Joint Culinary Training Exercise.
Culinarians from all branches of the U.S. military and 3 international teams met head-to-head to compete for top honors at the 48th Joint Culinary Training Exercise, March 1st through the 8th, at the McLaughlin Fitness Center on Fort Greg Adams. This year, the JCTE attracted more than 150 competitors. Chef Rennie Marquis, ACF president and military veteran, said the JCTE is one of the most important events in these chefs' careers.
Competitions are the best place to put up food in 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and to get instant feedback from the judges. That's how you get better at this. It's no different than running a marathon or doing a sporting event. You're only as good as your last event, and these chefs are cooking today to get better for tomorrow.
You roasted everybody on chops. You served in the military, and you're the president of the American Culinary Federation. What's next?
I don't know. This is an untold story. I tell everybody to shoot for the moon and hope you land on the stars. I never imagined being a retired service member coming back to Fort Greg Adams, which used to be called Fort Lee, which is the training center for all of the branches of service, and this joint culinary training exercise and this amazing display of food and competition.
Right.
France here, Germany here, the Brits are here from the United Kingdom. It's just not only is it a joint service, it's a joint nation. And it used to be bigger than this. And, you know, we took a big hit during COVID. But I think with the leadership that we have now and the positive energy, we're going to make this bigger and better than it ever was.
Cool. So,
So this is Chief Brown. She's the warrant officer in charge of the USCAT and Culinary Training Skills Division.
Nice to meet you again.
This is Sergeant Major David Turkar, retired. He's my battle buddy. He's the lead judge here.
Nice to meet you.
We're part of the old guard. We were the ones that used to go around and win everything.
Oh, wow.
Now, people are just going around.
Nice to meet you. Okay.
And then here's the M59 range that's fitted with a square head that you can braise in, and a pot that you can cook, boil, make soup, whatever you want. That's the kind of pot that I actually melted with that burner. Wow. So these cradles and these pots were made for regular stoves. The MBU is a new technological piece of equipment that came out about 20 years ago that's just amazing. Actually, there's a picture of one here. And it shows you they use 75 watts and it can use JP8 or diesel fuel. I'll be honest with you, they can burn on anything. Here is a combination of two things. They have to do a platter and they have to do a bread display. But when they make the bread display, they have to do spreads and accompaniments to go with it. This is basically a summary of what's happened so far. So here's all the installations. You can see that there's Bliss, Carson, Drum, Liberty, Stewart, Korea, USAR, which is Germany, Army Reserve, Air Force, Coast Guard, Marine, Navy, and then 3 international teams. But I want to show you something that people take for granted. This team from Korea has 2 silver, 2 gold, 2 gold, 3 silver, and a bronze. Another team, like the Coast Guard, has got 2 gold, 3 silver, and a bronze. So in theory, those teams could be mathematically tied. But I will tell you this. Let's make a short story. Gold and silver, gold and silver. Not hard to explain. But if you had a gold here and a silver there, and you had a silver here and a silver here, you could actually beat that gold and silver.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so
because of the point structure.
Because of the point structure. If these are perfect 89s, and you've got 2 89s, and this is a 90, and this is an 81.
Oh, wow.
This sum of 2 numbers would be higher than the sum of these 2 numbers. So we've won Olympics and World Cup by having gold and silver. When other teams had gold and gold. Because again, if those 2 gold medals, if they're just baseline, borderline, bottom line golds, you can have a very high gold and a very high silver and still supersede some of the to go.
Wow.
So this is sometimes this is misleading.
Right.
The winner of the 2024 Culinary Team of the Year is
That's a wrap on the road to gold and finding my injuries. Get ready for 2026 as the U.S. military will hold its 50th Joint Culinary Training Exercise to be held at the Fort Gregg Adams Base in Virginia. Super TikTok star chef Andre Rush should be there. Culinary Team USA and the US Army Culinary Team will be prepping for the 2026 Culinary World Cup and the 2028 Culinary Olympics to be held in Stuttgart. Thank you to the Food Network, the German Chefs Association, the American Culinary Federation, all the men and women who serve in our military. The jazz music was composed and performed by Alberto Bellavia and Roberto Fiolo Rubafello. Thanks for watching. But before you leave, I want to show you the Sarah Bernhardt soup recipe because it has yellow beets, which I didn't know existed. It was a surprise to find them, just like the surprises I found in the no-fault system in the state of New York. Live from Staten Island, it's the Cooking Olympics Cooking Special! I'm your host, the Dean of Chefs, and you clicked on Sarah Bernhardt Soup. And I've got my soup pot ready to go once again. All right. I'm honored to have found this recipe for this great woman. Let's make some Sarah Bernhardt soup. I know you're asking me, Dean, who's Sarah Bernhardt? She was a dramatic, very famous French actress from the mid-1800s into the early 1920s. When you get that famous, you get a soup named after you. So hey, you never know. Anyway, two chefs worked on it. Urbain Dubois started it, and then Auguste Escoffier finished it. It's a shrimp and crab-based soup. This soup contains yellow beets. So I know it's a problem finding yellow beets. If you do find them, they're next to the red beets at the supermarket. If you can't find yellow beets, I made a version with the red beets. It works, but you gotta cook them separately. You're gonna dice the celery, the onions, and the green pepper. I'm gonna cook the shrimp separately. Okay, saute the onions and celery, green pepper. Add the yellow beets that have already been diced. Add the flour, then the stock. Cook it slow. Make sure it's thick. Add the shrimp and the crab. Add the herbs, bay leaves, the ham. Temper the yolks with a ladle of stock and stir that into the soup. And then finish it off with a half bottle of champagne. And then for service, we're going to serve it with the green and white asparagus laid in the dish, as you can see, the soup dish, and then pour it in and enjoy. And I'm telling you again, your friends and family will come back for more. All right. So how did you guys meet? Did you meet on the team or did you meet?
Oh no, there's another great story.
Okay.
In 1983, I joined and I went to cook school at Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Okay.
And I graduated and they shipped me out to Germany. And the sergeant in charge said, you guys, this is your first weekend here. Don't screw up.
Okay.
He said, I don't want you leaving base.
Okay.
He said, you ain't got any money anyway.
Okay.
So you know, Friday night came around. I found some trouble to get into. Saturday I woke up, I was starving.
Oh no.
So I had to figure out where the 2nd and the 83rd dining facility was to get something to eat. There's about 4 or 5 guys in front of me and I hear a guy go, what do you want? And I'm a private, you know, I'm scared of NCAA. And there's a guy standing on the grill with this bright red hair. I thought he was a leprechaun.
Yeah, I still had read that guy.
Okay.
And I look at him, I said, well, he goes, I ain't got time, tell me what the hell you want. I said, over medium. He said, all right. He was a staff sergeant, and I was a private.
Wow, wow.
And again, the rest is history.
Thanks for watching. Happy cooking.